It's Thursday, September the 9th, King of the Mountain State Show. I'm Chase Hill. I have a special guest here with me today. This has been my mentor through the whole boxing game, the whole reason I got into boxing, one of my best friends. I've seen him do everything from promote to coach to be on a part of the commission to everything that you could do. He's done it from USA Boxing all the way up. I was lucky to have him to show me the way. One of my best friends, Scott Kuhn.
How you doing, Chase?
Even born the same day, April the 8th, my birthday, your birthday, right? So I know about everything there is to know about you. We've been friends for a long, long time, but some of the fans don't. So tell them to start with where you're from, where you're living at, and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm originally from Boone County, and I, coached football, and actually I came from the road truck driving to do that, and gave up truck driving and just started coaching football. That's actually where I met you. You were just 10 years old and quarterbacking the Madison Colts.
I don't even know if I was 10. I was young whenever we met, and we had an instant connection, man. We've always gotten along good, and we've done a lot of stuff together. I remember you being on the road driving that truck and then pulling it in there to the parking lot for football practice and stuff like that. So you were all in with it.
And eventually just stayed coaching and quit driving trucks. A couple of truck wrecks really, deterred me from driving trucks anymore. I didn't want to end up, with a shorter life in a truck.
Yeah.
But so as I quit driving trucks, I was looking for a new profession for a while, and I got into college, and I went and got a degree in education and got a master's degree, and eventually moved to Welch, and I teach at Mountain View Middle School, 7th grade social studies. I'm the head football coach down here, and I started the boxing all the way back in Boone County.
I remember that. I remember you having a van and a little gym. Where it was in a grade school, right? Which grade school was that?
I originally started it down at the old Julian grade school, which is the Kuhn Center now, which is a juvenile detention facility now. But Josh, my middle son, he was the one that asked first about boxing. We had watched the all-day special on Muhammad Ali, and he looked up and said, "Dad, do they have Little League boxing?" And that's funny because, they don't call it Little League boxing. It's just called amateur boxing. But, he's the one that inspired me to start the club. I started with my boys. We made a little makeshift ring in the yard, and it just grew into a club. We started down there at Julian, then we ended up moving over to Rock Creek. And you're right, I ran a van for several years, ran around town picking everybody up, take them to the gym, train them, and then ride them all home too. So
yeah, a bunch of kids that had talent and didn't have much, and here you were, kind of feeling your way through, and you had this van. I can remember driving around picking everybody up. It must have took all evening to go get them and get them to practice and get them home and all that kind of stuff. So it was a big impact. Now, you also fought some too. I mean, you shared the ring with what, a world champion? Was it Kendall Holt that you were in there with?
Right. He became world champ. I had probably 65 or 70 amateur fights. I was never a really badass fighter. I could box a little bit. I was tough a little bit. But, I was probably only about 60-40 on the win-loss record, And after I quit boxing and got married and had all the kids, and then Josh gets me back into it, I trained the kids for a few years, and I let the kids talk me into turning them pro. And that was probably a big mistake. But I fought a debut against a guy from Huntington, a really tough guy. His name was Brett Masters. He'd won a couple of Tough Mans, and he was cardio crazy. So I couldn't hang with him really, but I also broke my hand in the first round against him. So, and then my second fight was against Kendall Holt, and I've rooted Kendall Holt all the way up to his world title.
Yeah, I mean, just to share the ring with him and go through that experience must be something. So this is one of the reasons why I definitely had to have you on my show is, do you know how many people have asked me, like, how did you get into boxing? Because I didn't box. Like, I was a football player, basketball, baseball player. Boxing was nothing. I found boxing at probably the age of like 27, 28 when you showed up and started teaching me about boxing. Right. Like, I literally didn't know anything about it until you came along.
Right. Well, see, Zach, had matured in his senior year. He's turning pro, and we were trying to drum up some sponsorship. And I walked into your office, hadn't seen you for years, and I had asked about sponsorship, and your receptionist was like, well, what's your name? And as soon as, you were up on the floor, you came up so fast. I've never seen a doctor come up to me that fast. But when she mentioned I was in the lobby, you came up, and you just wanted to get behind us, and you sponsored Zach in that show, and the show wasn't a flop. I mean, I had a little bit of a crowd, but the show was expensive, and I ended up losing quite a bit of money on it. And then you wanted to get into promoting, and so I showed you what I knew, and you just kind of ran with it from there. And kudos to you. You have went far above and beyond what I ever thought it would become.
Well, I really can say, like, me, you, James Armstrong, Giovanna Browning, my aunt that runs the tickets, like, that's our group. That's the four of us that's been doing this the whole time. I don't think I've ever had an event where you weren't there. Zach's fought on my card every chance that we got. But looking back now, like, that was, over 10 years ago and stuff. To think what it's grown into now, all started off there at our chiropractic office with a little sponsorship. I went to the show, got to sit front row there at Scott High School. Zach was a pro, and I was hooked. Like, after that, it was just like, we got to do this. We started coming up with names and all kinds of stuff. But even like watching the boxing ring be put together was just like, I was mesmerized with it, So my entire trip into boxing was through you. And if you hadn't came along, I wouldn't be doing it. So,
well, if you hadn't came along, we wouldn't be as far as we are either. So.
Well, it's worked out well for us. So you have those three boys, they're at home. I know brothers fight all the time, but now they're in boxing class, and you got boxing gloves everywhere and stuff. I imagine they were all fighting. Josh was a pretty good talent, or even Rocky, but Zach was the one really gravitated toward it. He's the one that's made a career out of it. Tell me what it was like when he was younger, watching him go from a kid into kind of a teenager and growing. I mean, we're talking, I think Zach told me 150, 160 fights before he was out of high school.
Yeah, he did. He had over 100. I think he said 160. I remember it as 156 fights. He had 127 and 29 record. And, well, when he was younger, the first fight he had was at the Golden Gloves in Huntington. And he fought a boy from Huntington. And, it was just nonstop punches. The little kids do 3 1-minute rounds, the same as the other semi-pro type tournaments that are around. But these 3 kids, these 2 kids, Zach and the boy he fought, they probably threw over 100 punches around. It was nonstop action. And he ends up winning. He ended up fighting another on the championship day for the Golden Gloves, and he ends up winning the champion of champions of the Golden Gloves. Now, then he goes on and continues to have many, many fights. He had 60 fights by the time he was 10 years old. And had made it to the national silver gloves. He won the state, won the regional, made it to the national silver gloves, and finished, I believe, fourth in the nation in the silver gloves.
I mean, my kids are 12 years old.
know,
If I think about somebody having 60 fights by the time they're 10, no wonder he came out at the age of 18 years old and was ready to turn pro. Go ahead and finish telling me there what you were. That blows my mind. He hit 50, 60 fights by the time he's 10 years old. Good. Go ahead.
Right. So, I mean, we just continued his career. We fought national silver gloves. He won the East Coast silver gloves 4 times throughout his childhood. That's up the silver gloves is like golden gloves for kids. It's for 16 and under. And he won the regional 4 times. So 4 times he went to the nationals. He finished runner-up twice. And then we got into the national golden gloves, and he was at 17, and he lost his preliminary bout out there. But at 17, he was, top 32 in the country for his weight. And he fought a 24, 26-year-old when he was out there at 17, and the guy was from Oklahoma. And, a lot of nerves going into that fight, but he put up one heck of a fight. We lost a split decision in the preliminaries. And the guy we lost to ended up going all the way to the final 4. So, I mean, I thought, he delivered pretty good. And he kept having these fights. And then finally it was like USA Boxing scoring system. We didn't agree with it. They were using the electronic push the button where all the judges, you had to have 3 judges click within 1 second to get a point. And then it changed to these clicker counters where they were actually counting the punches, and they were never scoring a 10-9 round. So I just felt we came to a point where the amateurs was not getting him ready for the pros anymore. So we stepped on it up.
Well, and I feel like some of those places that you took Zach, some of those tournaments he was in, the competition he was against, got him more ready for the pro stage than even like the type of fighting and stuff, because he's never been one. As soon as he turned pro, he was down in Florida fighting. He's fought on a Mayweather card. Like, the lights have never been too bright for Zach, because like you said, when he was 10 years old, he was fighting the best in the country. So I think that's one thing that really helped him get ready to be able to handle the pressure. He's had some big fights. The one coming up is going to be the biggest, that I think he's ever had. But I feel like he transitioned well from the amateurs to the pro, because he's always been comfortable. Like, and this, well, like I know Zach, I feel like Zach is most comfortable in the entire world when he's in the boxing ring.
Yeah, he seems to be at home there. I mean, as he was growing up, some of the fighters we fought in the amateurs are actually big time pros today now. Also, we fought Emmanuel Taylor. I know it was mentioned earlier that they thought Zach had beat Emmanuel once. I felt the first time we fought Emmanuel, they were just 9 years old the first time he fought Emmanuel, and I felt we won that, but the judges didn't give it to us. But we didn't beat him any time after that. But we did fight him 5 times, I believe. We fought Sammy Vasquez. There's a world champion now. I think he goes by J-Rock now. His name's Julian Williams. I mean, Zach fought and lost a split decision to him. And Bernard Hopkins' trainer was right there at that fight. I believe he was training Julian Williams at the time in the amateurs. And we lost a split decision to him as well. But Zach's always shown that he can hang with these big guys, that he can hang with the elite fighters. So,
yeah, I don't think we've ever seen him. I don't think we've ever really seen him be outclassed. Like he may not get his hand raised at the end of the fight, but he's always shown that he belongs with these guys. And to the people watching, like I was telling Zach, like I remember seeing the actual pictures, not like on a phone or anything, but like you and Floyd Mayweather standing there at an event and different stuff like that. And he wasn't even Money Mayweather then, you know, so there was a bunch of stuff that you guys have done that has definitely helped him get to where he's at. Let me talk about this real quick. We talked about the gym you had there when they first got started. My shirt, you remember you and I had a gym, Lights Out Boxing Gym in Boone County. I know you're down in Welch now with your facility. Tell me a little bit about the facility. And one thing in particular is you're really making an impact and have made an impact in McDowell County since you've been down there, because they actually came in and filmed a feature documentary that's available on Amazon. Tell me a little bit about the gym there and the documentary crew that came in and did the special with you.
Okay. Well, the gym is at the old Welch High School, sets up on a hill. And I hear stories all the time about how the kids had to walk up the hill because the road going up to it is so narrow, a bus can't get up there. So the kids would have had to walk up there. So, I mean, I can get my car up there, but at the same time, up on that hill, it's a great place to run. Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of running with the kids. There's 4 sets of stairs we do also. The gym, I started it with nothing. I had a heavy bag, a double M bag, and we were going and this, it's called Community Crossing now. And the Community Crossing, they saw how dedicated we were to it. So for 8 months, we're going up there in the winter with no heat. We're going up in the summer with no air conditioner. And we are working, and we're working hard. And some other kids from the school I teach, they wanted to get into boxing also. So there's about a dozen of us going up there. We have 2 bags, no heat, no air conditioner, and we're showing up every day. So the guy who runs this community crossing facility, I guess, you know, he decided that we were, you know, committed, and he got behind us as well and bought a bunch of equipment for us, heavy bags, gloves, cups, headgears, bought a ring, bought the kind of ring you can hang bags around the side of it. And you know, we've just kept it rolling. I mean, Zach has never expressed any kind of interest in wanting to quit boxing. And I love coaching it. I love coaching the other kids as well. You know, I've had LaDre Stallworth came into the gym, and you saw LaDre at your last show. But when LaDre showed up at my gym, him and James, LaDre weighed 235 pounds.
Really?
Yes, 235 pounds. And he is what he weighed in
175, 180, something.
And looks ripped. And he's, you know, he's still got some to learn in boxing. He's experienced, but you know, I think he got gassed in that last fight, and he just doesn't have enough experience to know how to handle himself when he's gassed, maybe. But he
had a big week that week. His baby was born. There was a bunch of stuff going on. It wasn't very close to home, but
right. There's a lot of stuff in life that's, you know, sometimes, I mean, and not just boxing, but sometimes life gets in the way of what we all want to do. So, but you know, you got to live life first. And that's what LaDre's doing. And I'm super proud of the man he's became, because he came to me as a boy, and now he's a man, and he is a grown man that has a baby, has a woman, takes care of them, works, takes care of business at home, and he, you know, he's become a good man.
He is. And I've met him a couple times now. He's a good dude. He absolutely has his mind in the right place. He's a good dude. Tell him about that movie. Tell him about the movie on Amazon Prime where you're featured in a documentary about everything you're doing down there.
So one day we're at the gym, and this guy named JD Belcher walks in and asked if he can film us, that he was making a documentary about McDowell County and about the struggles of McDowell County, and he kind of just wanted to use our boxing club as an example of, you know, how McDowell County is, you know, in a fight. And the fight McDowell County is in is poverty, especially poverty. I think McDowell County is the poorest county in the state of West Virginia. And if I'm not mistaken, West Virginia is the poorest state in the union, or at least one of them. So that puts us at one of the poorest places in the entire United States. And these boys and these kids around here, they've got a lot to deal with, a lot of struggles of life, a lot of, you know, scrounging for food, having to fight for a place to live, fight for food, have to fight for, you know, the rights, it's a constant fight anyway. So JD filmed all that, and he really captured the heart and soul of McDowell County through our boxing club. And I'm extremely proud of the film. I try to share it with anybody I can. It was amazing to me what he turned it into, because it's a full 1 hour documentary.
What's the name of it?
It's called Cornered, A Fighter's Story.
And it's available on Amazon Prime, correct?
Amazon Prime Video, correct.
Yeah, I mean, and the way it came together, you can tell it was almost like he didn't know what he was getting a hold of until he got in that boxing gym. And then it was this whole big story that he had uncovered. I've been doing a little bit of research about Welch, mainly because I've never been there, and I'm getting ready to head there in McDowell County. I read where in 1950, it was producing more coal than any other county in the United States. And you fast forward about 10 years, and in the early 1960s, the first food stamps that were given out under like the John F. Kennedy regime was there in Welch. And it had went from over 100,000 people living there in like 1950 to, in the 2010 census, there was 2,400 people living there. So there's literally 2% of the people that was once there 60 years ago are gone. So the people who are there, it's home. They love it. That's where they've rooted into. What's it been like how long have you been living down there?
I will be living here 7 years in 2 months. It'll be 7 years that I've lived down here. I've just started my 8th year of teaching down here. And, you know, I love my job. I love the community down here. Like I said in the film, if anybody goes watch the film, they'll hear me say this in the film also. I was so welcomed here. When I got here, the first day I got here, and I was hooking up my utilities for the home, I had to go down to City Hall to pay the water bill. And they were, you know, asking me where I was from and what I was doing for McDowell County and everything. Why am I moving here? And I'm telling them that I'm a teacher. The mayor asked me to come in and see her. And, you know, bless Miss Honeker's heart. She's not with us anymore, but she really made me feel welcome. She turned me to the guy, Jay Wilson, that owns the community crossing, that supported our boxing club since I've been here. She kind of gave me a tour of the town and a tour of City Hall and a little bit of the history. And you were going on there a minute ago about, you know, the population in the 50s. If you go back to even the 40s and 30s, there were 200,000 here. And yeah, it's crazy. And Welch is actually set up a lot like Times Square in New York. And Welch has a nickname of the Little New York. So it's set up sort of like Times Square. And if you go out to the right, that's called Coney Island. So, I mean,
yeah, I've seen it. And I've seen the pictures of back in the day. It was a big place. It was a metropolis. I mean, there was 3 hospitals there. Like, how many people do you have to live there to have 3 hospitals? You know, like, to see it progress like that and go, I'm glad that we're going to get to put a boxing event on for the people down there and show them this, because there's not a whole lot going on. You get outside of the school football, which I know you coach the middle school team and stuff. But you get outside of some of the school functions, there's not a whole lot going on down there. So this boxing event, especially with two of their own, with Zach from Welch and then Derek from right down the street in Princeton, I mean, it's a big event for them. I'm sure they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, this is like you said, it's probably the most important fight we've had.
Well, let's get to that. And here's something important is we talk about Zach. We talk about what you guys have did as a family. We talked about what you and I have did as pretty much best friends for years and years. I've seen you in the corner with Warren Browning on big time title fights. I've seen you in the corner with Jason Smith or Jordan Moore or whoever it may be. You've worked a ton of corners with these, a ton of big fights, but like all jokes aside, there is no bigger fight in Zach's career and in your career as the one that's coming up here in 5 weeks. Your son, Zach Kuhn, the ABA super welterweight champ, puts his belt on the line versus Derek Lambert, 5-1. It's also going to be for the West Virginia vacant state title, which I got from the belt manufacturer. My first pictures of it today. Beautiful belt. So excited about it. But both belts on the line. It's in Welch. Welch is finally getting to find out what you can do in boxing, what you've been a part of, and they're getting ready to really find out what Zach can do and Derek can do. But, I mean, we're 5 weeks away from a mega fight. What are we going to see, man?
Fireworks. Zach is well, I know right now he has a lot to deal with his wife. His wife just had surgery, and you know, he's training best he can, and we know Derek is very tough, very strong-willed, very strong, and you know, we're not taking him lightly by no means. Even though Zach has, you know, much more experience than him, you can't take Derek lightly. Derek doesn't quit. I'm sure he's going to be there for all 8 rounds, and I'm going to make sure Zach is too.
Well, and one thing, you know, kind of gets left out about this, we always talk about the different styles and that kind of stuff, but I've seen Zach grow and I've seen him adapt. Like this Mayweather card, that was one of the first times we saw him really go out and take the fight to the guy. So I don't feel like there's a style that can be presented that Zach and you as a team that you all haven't seen that. And you're a well-oiled machine, like whether it's working in the corner or the lead up to the fight, the prep, the taping the hands, like that part of it could not be any easier for you guys and comfortable. And I think that goes a long way in a big title fight when emotions are high, things are stressed a little bit, and you guys you hit your stride. You almost are more comfortable doing stuff like this.
Well, yeah, I'm comfortable in that corner with Zach. I have all the confidence in the world that he can protect himself. And as a father, that's what I worry about most. As a father, I don't worry so much about winning as much as I worry about, you know, can he protect himself? As a coach, yes, I worry about winning as much as he does. And, you know, we're just trying to make sure we get ready for it. We know Derek's going to bring his A game, and you know, like I said, Derek's very tough. So, you know, we're doing everything we can to get ready.
Scott, you've been one of the best friends that I've ever had. There's been 2 or 3 people from West Virginia ever be at my house in Florida, and you're one of them. You're welcome anytime. I wish I got to see you guys more. One thing that's quick to note, and I joke about this, but like your mother is a USA Boxing official of the year in the country before. Like she is big time. When I got when the governor put me in charge of athletics for the state, the first person I hired was your mom, not out of friendship or anything, but out of the fact that she was the perfect candidate. Your mother has looked at me before. She's 75 years old. She's looked at me before and said, you know, if the guy ain't going to double his jab up, what's he even doing out here? You know, like she knows boxing. You know, it's awesome to watch a 75-year-old woman that knows boxing like that.
Crazy. Mom she excels at everything she does. And I dragged her into this sport, fighting, kicking, and screaming. She didn't want no part of it. and we needed judges in our state. So I taught her how to judge, and from there she just passed me up as an official. She became one of the top 50 officials in the United States. I know she was ranked there for a while. I'm not sure if she is now, but she did just judge at the National Golden Gloves. And she, they have a criteria for the judges. If you're not meeting the criteria, you won't be judging the next day.
Right.
And she made it all the way to the finals and judged 4 of the finals matches. So she's judging in the amateurs. She's judging tomorrow's big time pros.
Right.
She's already met them. And that's the thing about so many of the big time pros now. There's a bunch of them that we know. Adrian Broner, Rasheed Warren, Manuel Taylor, Sammy Vasquez, Julian Williams. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's also more that I just can't pull off the top of my head right now. But yeah, we've loved boxing. We're gonna. I figure, I'm gonna be in boxing, and either until I retire from it or until I die. I mean, whichever comes first.
It's got a way of hooking you and keeping you into it, and you try to get out and it'll pull you right back in. But you've really had an impact on a lot of people's lives, starting down there in Boone County and now down there in Welch where you're at. I know it's a great program that you've got. I'm excited for the opportunity. Derek is a great person. He's a great fighter. I have no idea who's going to win. My job is to match an even fight. I think this is a great one. I'm excited for both of them to get the opportunity. I feel like it's time you get the opportunity as a coach to start putting some of these awards in. I've watched a lot of coaches. You're really great with it. A family, the Scott Kuhn family through Connie Brammer, and it's a family thing. I appreciate you guys. She's still big time helping me, instrumental in what we do now. I guess we're just 5 weeks away, and I'm going to try to get to Welch next week so we can check out the venue. You know that I don't sleep good until I get to the venue and check it out. And it's always important that you're with me. We don't start a show until you've checked the ropes, and that's something to really see, man.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad we don't have video of me checking the ropes.
Yeah, well, maybe that's something we need to get. Hey, man, thanks again. You were the reason I got into this, and I think we're stuck in it now, so we're stuck together. But thanks for everything that you did for us in the boxing, the promotion to help us build it. I'll see you here in a couple of weeks. Thanks for sitting down with me and doing this interview. I'll check back with you. We get maybe at fight weeks. You can let us know how Zach's doing, and we'll do a little build up for the fight.
All right. Can I get a shout out here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, one, shout out to Mom. Mom's been a big inspiration to me, both as I dragged her into the sport and as she's taught me the right things. I want to give a shout out to you for the job you do. You've done an awesome job with this whole thing. You've went far beyond what I ever thought it would become. Shout out to Zach. Zach, keep training hard. And a shout out to all my friends at Mount View and Welch and McDowell County.
I know you found a home there, and they seem to welcome you with open arms, and you've made the most of it.
I love it.
At times when maybe people didn't think I was going to accomplish what I did, you believed in me, and I always believed in you, and I knew what you were capable of, and we showed them. So it's been a fun ride, man. Thanks for sitting down with me, and I'll check in with you here in a couple of weeks. We'll see how Zach's doing.
Thanks for having me.